So today was a big day for Nintendo fans because we finally got that 40 plus minute Nintendo Direct that we were looking for. Except this one was based on just one singular game. That game being Kirby Air Riders, the sequel to Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, which I got to admit, I didn't think it was the greatest game in the world or anything like that. I didn't really play it all that much because I would have rather have played other racing games such as F-Zero GX and Mario Kart Double Dash. I was kind of surprised when it was announced that this game was getting a sequel as well. But Kirby Air Riders was something I went into an open mind with to kind of check out this game, as obviously I am looking for new stuff to play on the Switch 2, and during this presentation, well, it was okay. I still have quite a few questions about the timing of this game, along with some of the decisions that were made, but we're going to go over the Direct today, talk about what I liked from it, talk about maybe what I didn't necessarily like from it, and kind of come to some sort of conclusion, because I think there's more than meets the eye with this Direct, especially when we're talking about the release date for this game. So like I said, this was a 40-plus minute presentation done by Mr. Sakurai himself, and one of the few things that we learned pretty early on in this is that HAL Laboratory was actually not working on this game. It was actually being done in conjunction with Sakurai's team and Bandai Namco, which I find very interesting because Bandai Namco right now is kind of a company that is viewed as a bit half-assed when it comes to Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. We saw the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero 2 situation where it's like 1810p 30 frames per second on the Switch 2 for some reason. Obviously, there have been other issues with other games that Bandai Namco has released on Nintendo platforms that have lower performance than they do on other systems, when in actuality, it's a game that probably shouldn't. So I thought it was interesting to see them teaming up with Bandai Namco for this game. Now, Kirby Air Riders, it's an interesting game at its core. Basically, it's a racing game with some attack elements done into it and some Kirby flair as well. You can use Kirby to suck up other racers and get their abilities, or now there's an ability to where you can use a hat in order to suck up other racers' abilities in this game, because you can choose from multiple characters. There's Gooey and Knuckle Joe and Waddle Doo and all sorts of fun Kirby-related characters that have joined the fight, in which you can choose from them, because in the original game, you can only choose as different versions of Kirby. Now, control-wise, it's a very simple game. You actually just move on your own. So the only real button that you have to press in this game is the B button, to some degree, because it allows you to boost, and the Y button to use your special abilities. Your character is constantly moving around the course, so it's something to kind of get used to when it comes to stuff like that. I think one of my main takeaways, though, from the racing portion of the game, which is a big portion, is that there are only 6 racers on the track at once. Now, Sakurai did say that was a creative decision, but I don't know. That just seems kind of low for a game that's coming out in 2025. Like, we just saw Mario Kart World do 24 different racers, and yeah, it makes things pretty chaotic at times, but Kirby Air Riders isn't exactly a game that, like, it's not a Gran Turismo or something like that where like pinpoint precision is needed. It's more of a casual sort of party style game in which it has very pick up and play mechanics as seen by the control scheme. So to kind of limit the amount of racers on the course to just 6, I don't know, that feels kind of strange to me. Now, I did like the visual style of the game. It has a really good sense of speed. There's lots of different levels taking place within the Kirby universe as well. And I think once Sakurai actually showed off like a race, he did a 1-lap race, you kind of got a feel for how the courses are going to play out. There's lots of effects going on, lots of different traversal reversal mechanisms. Of course, you're not just regulated to the ground, as there are different vehicles that you can use. Some of them are better off in the sky than on the ground and stuff like that. So kind of multi-layered racing is going on with this. The racing itself feels and looks pretty solid. I definitely wish there was more on-screen characters at once. And you got different carts, or I don't even know what you call them, air rides, I guess, that you choose from, all with different abilities. Your characters all have different abilities and stuff, like with weight and stuff like that. So, it does play a role in that sort of stuff. So there is some strategy, but, it looks fine. The thing about Kirby Air Ride was that it didn't really, like, if you watch anyone play this game in the racing portion, they're constantly running into the walls. Like, it's just something that always happens in that game. It seems like it's been somewhat rectified in this game, so I do think that is, a good thing. The copy abilities are cool as well. And then, of course, you have the City Trial, which was kind of the second portion of what Kirby Air Ride had, which was kind of like this open-esque sandbox in which you would pick up different sorts of items, and then you would do like a special mission based on that after the time limit was up against other computer opponents or other human opponents. Now, they did increase the amount of local multiplayer people that you can do, and they did increase the amount of City Trial people that you can play with, up to 16 players in City Trial at a single time, and then you can do 8 people local co-op if everyone has a Switch too. So I guess, make sure your friends have a Switch too. And basically you're on this larger, open map, and then you are going around and you are picking up different items, and then you do different sorts of tasks within there, and you try to do better than the other person. You pick up different carts, you pick up different abilities to level up your car. It's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool looking. One thing I definitely noticed, though, is that the map itself was kind of small. As Sakurai is going around this map, they kind of broke it down into different segments as far as, like, oh, here's the beach area, here's the city area. But once you're actually playing the game, like, you're intermingling with these areas at a very rapid rate. So don't think of it as like a Mario Kart World size map or anything like that. Like, it honestly comes off as like a fraction of the size of that map because of how quickly you can get to different areas on the map. Now, obviously, some of that has to do with the general overall speed of the game and stuff like that. And then they did tease that there's some other secrets that are going to be happening. Nintendo Music is they're adding the opening theme soundtrack to the game, and we actually have a release date for this game of November 20th. And that's an interesting release date because if you're doing an August Direct for a game that comes out in November, what does that mean for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment? What does that mean for Metroid Prime 4? Because I feel like if those two games were coming out before November, like, we would have gotten directs for them already to kind of tell us when that's happening. Now, there's always the chance that, one of those games, like, I definitely think Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is indeed a 2026 game at this point in time, but there's still, hope that Metroid is going to be a 2025 game, but I'm not quite sure how high that hope is. At the end of the day, when you are learning about a game in August that comes out in November, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if Metroid was coming out before then, Metroid would have gotten a direct to sort of showcase that if it was coming out in October or something like that. So, this was fine to me. Like I said, looking at this from the perspective of just the lineup of Switch 2 games, like, it seems weird. Like, this to me feels like a game that should come out in like 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, after people have moved on from Mario Kart, and I get it, there's a large online presence, a large vocal minority of people. I'm quitting Mario Kart. It's the worst Mario Kart ever. but the game is still selling ridiculously well. And, you know, people are buying bundles with the system. People are buying the game a la carte, and people are still playing the game. Nintendo is still doing updates for that game as well. And while Kirby Air Riders definitely isn't a traditional racing game, I mean, it still kind of is a racing game. So to have these games come out within such a quick time frame of each other, and really the only stuff in between is Drag X Drive, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I guess you could also count Pokemon in there as well. But realistically speaking, like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird for me. And honestly, I didn't really care for the first game too much, and like, this looks cool, but I don't know how far my mileage is going to go with this. You know, the added stuff into the city trial is definitely nice to elongate stuff, but I just feel like, you know, it's fine. I'm not blown away by it or anything like that. I don't feel like this presentation made me a huge fan of Kirby Air Riders or something. Obviously, I'll check the game out when it comes out in November, but I don't know. You know, it's fine to me. The fact that I'm familiar with the original game, and honestly, it wasn't that great. You know, it's just kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me. But I know that there are people that probably cried during this presentation. Oh my god, it's the best thing ever. And like, you're allowed to feel that way, just like I'm allowed to feel like, all right, you know, it's cool. You know, nice little filler title. But I want something different, man. I want something a little bit more heavy hitter. And you know, Sakurai gets his way. I want to talk about this for 45 minutes. I want to talk about the most basic things about it and explain it in excruciating detail to people. And Nintendo's like, yes, sir, right away, sir. But let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about Kirby Air Riders? What do you see this game being sold at? I would assume it's a $70 game. I don't think Kirby's an $80 franchise at this point in time, but, you know, maybe they'll try, you know, but 6 racers for $80 on the course at the same time. I don't quite know about that, Nintendo. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. This is video 1 of 2 for the day, because we will be talking about Gamescom opening night live. So make sure you come back later on in early evening to check out that video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Give me your thoughts, questions, and queries in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.